Hey guys, buenos dias. I had some extra time here sitting in a hotel, so I thought I would remake a video that actually I had previously made that for some reason I don't know, the sound didn't get picked up. So I'm hopeful that the sound will work on this one. But it was basically a video asking or answering the question, why would I retire to Spain as a retiree? And so, of course, this group is about military retirees and veterans. And so all of you prospectively have some sort of pension that's coming from your service in the U.S. military. So first of all, thank you for all that you have done for our country, and it's much appreciated. And how can you utilize that in your move to Spain? So I think that one thing when we're just talking about retirees, and I made a separate video for if you have family, if you have kids, but when we're talking about retirees, I think it's kind of like there are three different underlying reasons for why we sort of picked Spain and chose Spain. And I think it comes down to cost of living, or number one, cost of living, and number two, availability of health care, and then three, just, a more holistic life that you can lead in Spain compared to the US. So I guess let's first talk about cost of living. I mean, cost of living in Spain is actually quite reasonable. And the reason for that is because, well, I'm sure there's all kinds of economic reasons for that, but you can definitely get a lot more bang for your buck in Spain over the United States. First of all, the exchange rate has been quite good for Americans, for United States passport holders using the dollar. So we're almost at parity right now. It's hovered for our time. The worst it ever got, I think, was 85 cents to the dollar. So that even wasn't too bad. But I think that you can kind of expect it to hang around somewhere around 90 cents to the dollar. So it's really reasonable from a exchange perspective. But then also just things cost less here. So for example, when I go to the grocery store, Spain has amazing produce, and I really will walk out of there. Maybe I spend $100, but we're a family of four. So, I'm buying generally whole foods, I'm buying vegetables, I'm buying milk, I'm buying meat. Meat does tend to be more expensive than in the United States, although I don't know now that the cost of living has risen so sharply in the United States. But just in general, if you think about it, Spaniards on average make somewhere between realistically, maybe between 1,500 and 2,000 a month. So if you look at what you have with your pension and it's somewhere around there, I mean, I think it should be somewhere north of there, especially when you're talking about qualifying for visas, but you're going to do okay. I mean, you're going to be fine. So it also highly depends on which city you pick. If you pick a city like Barcelona or Madrid, the cost of living is going to be higher. But if you pick some beach town in Malaga or something like that, you're probably going to be doing even better. If you pick somewhere like, I don't know, Zaragoza or somewhere like that, or even up in the northern regions near Santander or Bilbao, your cost of living is going to be less than if you pick a city like Barcelona or Madrid. So cost of living in Spain is definitely manageable, particularly on a good military pension. And then let's talk about healthcare. So generally speaking, I assume most of you have to apply for visas. So usually to apply for your visa, you have to provide some sort of Spanish healthcare that has zero deductibles and zero limits. So unfortunately, TRICARE does not meet those requirements, but a Spanish policy for you is going to be quite reasonable. I'm trying to remember what I was paying a month just recently, because I ended up getting rid of mine because after a certain point, renewals, you can do them with TRICARE. I think it was around, maybe it was around 200. So I figured that is about my catastrophic cap for TRICARE. So for real speak here, if you're going to reach your cap with TRICARE, you can spend it on either reaching it with TRICARE or you can spend it, buying Spanish insurance. So it's kind of a wash. And so the benefits, though, is, I mean, with Spanish healthcare, it literally is zero deductibles. You walk into the hospital if you need emergency services and you walk out with nothing, no bill, nobody chasing you down for payments, partial payments, it's all done through the insurance. And I can't tell you what a pleasant experience that is to not have to deal with the billing after such an emergency room visit. And I'll tell you kind of a funny story. When I first moved to Spain with my daughter, she got sick. It just was a head cold. I was concerned that she had a sinus infection. And so I called up my Spanish friend and I said, what do you do? It's a Sunday. My daughter's not feeling well. Where do I take her? Is there some place, I know the doctor's office isn't going to be open. Where do I take her? And she said, well, Sandra, take her to the emergency room. I'm like, no, because Americans, we don't take our kids to the emergency room unless like a limb has fallen off. And so I said, no, isn't there something like an urgent care or something, that it's not to the level like she's not having a heart attack or something like that. I don't need to go to the emergency room. And she's like, no, Sandra, you really take your kid to the emergency room. And so it took me some convincing that this was okay, because my little, American heart is saying, no, this is going to cost me $5,000. And so eventually, I just took her to the emergency room. We went in there. Doctor saw us right away. They gave her an antibiotic and we were on our way. Never saw a bill. It was awesome. So from a healthcare perspective, I know everybody has TRICARE and that's great, but you will end up with Spanish health insurance, and it's kind of pleasant, to be honest with you, to not have to deal with no approvals. Well, I guess there are approvals that you might need for some elevated care, surgeries and things like that. I'm sure you have to get approval from your Spanish insurance, but really for everyday stuff, you just go, you just show up. So the other thing I was going to talk about for retirees was just, what are you putting into your body? What are you eating? And I know that this must be a concern for some of you, but I will post several pictures of what is usually sitting on my table as a bowl of fruits and vegetables, which are just so beautiful in Spain. You really just get the most bountiful, most beautiful produce that's produced right here locally. And so it makes me feel good for our family, that we're eating generally whole foods, and you can choose to buy organic here, but so much of the food is actually just raised with good quality and not a bunch of chemicals anyway, that I really think that at least for my family, I feel comfortable buying the produce and things like that aren't necessarily designated bio or organic. But for retirees, what are you looking for? You're looking for a healthy lifestyle. You're looking for your healthcare needs to be taken care of, and you don't want to kill the bank. And here, you can do that in Spain. So, hope that helps. Hasta la vista.